Shout out to my snow bunnies. Shout out to my snow bunnies. I asked a question yesterday when I posted a post on Instagram and here on my community tab on the Anton Daniels channel. When I asked the question, I said, I got all of these beautiful sisters around me. I'm wondering if I should add me a snow bunny to the mix. I'm wondering if I should add me a snow bunny to the mix just for diversity, equity, and inclusion. You know what I'm saying? Just for some diversity, equity, and inclusion. Should I add me a snow bunny to the mix? And by the way, for those of y'all that's asking, I got the Love and Sip Hop hoodie on for my dog 2K. I don't know if he's selling this, but go over to Love and Sip Hop and make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel and tell them that Anton from Anton Daniels channel, Anton Daniels sent you. I asked if y'all wanted me to add into diversity, equity, and inclusion. All right? I know that Dr. Umar Johnson will be absolutely disgusted at it, but we got to take it into consideration because I'm a person that believes that everybody deserves a chance. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, white women were told to come to the call. Come to the call for Kamala. My snow bunnies. I hold the black community accountable so much. I hold the black community accountable so much that I have to ask y'all, what are y'all thinking? What are y'all thinking? Let me play the video. I'm gonna bring y'all back to the front of the congregation shortly.
You weren't feeling hopeful before. Now's a good time to feel hopeful. The White Women for Kamala call was last night and I was on it. And within like 90 minutes, they'd raised $2 million. I, of course, donated. Not only that, but right now I have seen people feel more hopeful than they have felt in a very long time since like the start of the pandemic. It was palpable. The air was electric. It is so cool to see women coming together. It is so cool. And I think this is the energy that we have needed for a long time now. And I think the cool thing is that the better response we're getting each time, the more momentum we're gaining. And it's like feeding this energy of like, let's keep supporting each other. Let's keep showing up for each other. And apparently Beyonce and Taylor Swift are putting on like a huge concert in support of Kamala, which is going to be epic. I think the next call that's coming up for like donating and supporting each other, that's going to be one coming up is for LGBTQ people. And then the next one I believe that's coming up after that is for white men.
Somebody tell me how to call for white men, or should I save that for tomorrow? Somebody tell me how to call for white men, or should I save that for tomorrow? Hold on, but before we criticize, we got to understand the details of the calls. We want the deets. We don't want them to just say, hey, listen, it was a call for white women, because they could have called y'all on there and then brought Umar Johnson on there, and then he would have said, black chocolate forever, snow bunnies never. They could have called y'all on there in order to pull the rug up from under y'all and said, we want to hold y'all accountable for what it is that y'all, and you invited us into it and wanted us to join this feminist movement and break up our families. Y'all wanted to be a minority. You wanted to consider yourself a minority as a woman. And so you invited us into the feminist movement and got us to break up our homes. And now our kids is in shambles and our neighborhoods is bad. It could have been bad. I don't know. I have no clue. So I wanted to know the details, and I didn't want y'all to just send me that video and I leaned into it. I did a little bit of my own research. And so I found me a new snow bunny. To give me more insight into actually what really happened and what happened on that call. Check it out.
So I just left the...
First of all, let me also give some credit to the snow bunnies that take good notes. Let me give y'all a round of applause. The snow bunnies that take good notes, I want y'all to know that you are always going to be embraced and loved by all from AntonDaniels.com, because in college, you saved my life. In college, you saved my life. I said, hey, could you take good notes? And then I went down to the student union in order to shoot pool and said, oh, Anton, I got the notes for us. I said, okay, baby. And so when I seen this woman taking good notes, I said, ooh, she reminds me of my homegirl that was sitting next to me in college.
White women for Kamala Harris call on Zoom, and I wanted to kind of go through my notes and tell you guys what happened.
I feel like I need to get my iPad out.
First things first, there were over 100,000 people. They crashed Zoom for, I believe, like roughly 10 minutes at the beginning, and they had to start live streaming it on YouTube. When I checked the live stream on YouTube, it had about 20,000 people on it. So roughly in total, about 120,000 people by my estimate. That number might change when the official report comes out, but that's just what I saw. We raised over $2 million by the end, but the button...
Over $2 million by the end of the live stream. 120,000 estimated white women crashed the Zoom in order to try to support a black woman in order to get in the office of the President of the United States of America. Can we get a round of applause for that? Can't get white women to come together for nothing except for destruction, I guess, huh?
Was malfunctioning because there were so many people trying to donate, so they're hoping that that number will go up. And we also had a ton of celebrities and really important political figures on the call. There were both federal and state level representatives and senators that spoke to us. Celebrities included Gracie Abrams' mom, Katie McGrath. She was donating. I believe Sarah Bareilles, I heard her name called.
Hey, y'all ever been in a situation where you came into the school and you came in and you was thinking to yourself, man, I'm woefully underprepared. Everybody is up here taking notes and you start feeling bad, so you just pull out your stuff. Even though you may not take no notes, you pull out your stuff to make sure that you take accurate notes because you feel like you need to be writing something down even though you're not going to study it afterwards. That's what I'm feeling like right now. And I be seeing the news respondents, the news correspondents and stuff like that. They be having their stuff up there and they be having all of their iPads and they be like, yeah, and we're going to do this. I'm doing that too now. That's my new thing. And I got an iPad Pro, the newest one. So I'll be able to use this for that. Not just watching Netflix movies and chess.
Maria Shriver, Connie Brighton, Megan Rapinoe, Sue Bird, and then kind of the big name for the night was Pink, global superstar Pink. She was on there and we got to hear her talk, which was kind of awesome. The call started off by really just giving a shout out to Black women and the incredible work that they've done being community organizers and allies. And so we talked about specifically not relying on the unpaid labor of Black women just to save our democracy, having to do this ourselves, trusting Black women, listening to Black women, and kind of using the same foundation that they've built and use it in our own way because we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of different work to do as well. So
this is the same thing they did to feminism. It's the same thing that they did. We're going to acknowledge your plight. The unpaid labor of Black. So listen, y'all. I want y'all to pay attention to something really quickly. Have y'all noticed that in both of these videos, and this woman, I have to give her a lot of credit. Let me give her a round of applause. Have y'all noticed that in these conversations, there's nothing talked about as far as policy? She said that the next play is for them to bring in white men for Kamala Harris and then alphabet community members for Kamala Harris. And then they just going to go down the list. Babies for Kamala Harris, feminists for Kamala Harris, whatever group that you want to put yourself in to try to separate yourself and make yourself feel special. But have y'all noticed in this entire conversation that we're having, nothing about a policy, nothing about what it is that they're going to do for the immigrants or anything that they're going to do to stop immigration into the country or for your schools or to make sure that you can put more money in your pocket or for jobs or for our military or to keep our communities safe, for policing. Nothing, no one. On all of these calls that they raise up all of this money, nothing is ever spoken about as far as what you're actually going to do when you get inside of the White House and how you're going to accomplish it, especially with regard to working with other legislative branches, our House of Representatives, our Senate, our Congress members. How do we get them on board? What are we going to do when it comes to Taiwan and all of the semiconductor chip shortages as far as China and their continued aggression against the United States of America and BRICS? You know, I have some real questions. What are we going to do as far as the devaluation of the American dollar and people are going away from it, including Saudi Arabia? What are we going to do as far as, immigration into this country and why are we having so many migrants into this country? And how do we then solve for wars, 3 proxy wars that we're fighting across overseas where a lot of our tax dollars are going? And then are we just continuously forgiving student loans? Or is that just going to be a one-time thing because that's contributed to inflation? Safety for postal workers, especially over in Chicago, because a woman just died. Arming our police and then giving them more safety and training, in addition to getting more police on the street. And how do we expand body cams? And how much is body cams costing these cities? Because the storage in the cloud is often at times crippling the budget of the city, and then it's then being passed on to the state. And that's why one of the things that Oakland is going through right now is that they're having the sheriffs come in and police the city. I have so many real questions. I mean, real questions. I don't care about what color you are. If you're a black person and you're good for the job, or if you're a white person and you're good for the job. Listen, I like Vivek Ramaswamy. I also liked Andrew Yang at one time. I don't care what your color is. I care about whether or not you're doing the best thing for my interests, my daughter's interests, in the United States of America. Because I can live with you just giving me the opportunity to get it on my own, but we just want to make sure that you're doing the thing that's in our best interest, not just because you're a black woman. But I'm going to let her play out. I want to hear the whole thing because maybe she got all of these policies and she's answering these questions that could ultimately help us to understand why we should vote for Kamala Harris. White women for Kamala Harris is where we at, y'all.
About the importance of activism in our own communities.
Activism.
We then got just a general update of what's going on in the Harris campaign. So they said that they had roughly 40,000 new voters, mostly 18 to 35-year-olds.
New voters.
They've had thousands and thousands of new volunteers and people applying for jobs with the Harris campaign, so that was awesome. Specifically in Pennsylvania and Nevada, they've had a lot of people showing up. So those are really cool because they're swing states, so that's awesome to hear.
Swing states, y'all.
They mentioned that if you want to get involved, there are 250 different centers in across the United States, so you should be able to find one relatively near you. We talked about what we can do to kind of push this through in our own communities. So the first and most important thing is to donate. The second most important thing is to vote. Obviously, those are incredibly important.
The first most important thing is to donate. They want y'all money, just like the pastors. The second thing is get out and vote. Get out and vote. You don't know what you're voting for, but just get out and vote. Okay, you don't know why you're doing it. You're just going to do it.
It means nothing if you don't show up and vote, and it also means nothing if you can't get the message out. So besides those, though, what we can do just within our own groups, first is having hard conversations. So if you are somebody who looks like me, you know somebody who voted for Donald Trump. You know them, you've spoken to them, you may have had these conversations, you may not have, but talking to them, kind of seeing where they fall and having the really difficult, really uncomfortable conversations within your families, within your friend groups.
I told y'all what the play was going to be before the show even started. I told y'all last week what the play was going to be was that they were going to leverage your women, which included your daughters, your grandmothers, your mothers, and your wives and your girlfriends, to try to mobilize them to convince you to vote a certain way. And some of y'all are going. Some of y'all have no control over what's going on in your household, that you're controlled by the box. You're controlled by being a son husband. You're controlled by your grandma. Y'all don't have no control as men. They said, listen, she's telling you the play of what they told them on the call. She says, y'all know, they didn't tell them policy. They didn't tell them why it makes sense for them. They didn't tell them how it was going to benefit for them, how it was going to make more money, get better jobs, none of that stuff. They said, listen, y'all know somebody around you or in your family that voted for Donald Trump. This is what we need you to do to go over there and convince them to come over here with white women for Kamala Harris.
Second is, in every family and in every friend group, there's always the person who kind of knows what's going on. So make that you. So know when the Zoom calls are, know where you can get yard signs and bumper stickers and t-shirts, know where you can donate, know how to register to vote. Know where you can volunteer. Just educate yourself on what's going on so you can be that person in case that conversation ever does come up.
This is deep, y'all.
And then lastly, just volunteering if you can. So volunteering for either, the Democratic Party in your state or volunteering for the Harris campaign. Knocking on doors if you can. Signing up to be like one of those people who texts. You can do that as well. Do what you can. essentially. We then talked about kind of the importance of Project 2025 and how that impacts all of us.
Not even associated with Donald Trump whatsoever. Has nothing to do with Donald Trump whatsoever. Project 2025, y'all. Hey, 2025 on the project. No, 2025 projecting has nothing to do with nothing whatsoever. Oh, we can't be this silly. We cannot be this silly, y'all.
Not just
white women.
A select few. It is incredibly dangerous to kind of let that rhetoric spread. We talked about how, oftentimes the Republican Party has claimed that, they weren't serious.
They're not talking about anything that they're going to do. They're going to talk about why you shouldn't vote for the other party. This is what they're arming them with as far as information to take out to you and your sons and your children and your community and that church. And this is what they're going to advocate for.
About something, or it wasn't that big of a deal, and then it went through anyway. So the big example is Roe v. Wade. We had multiple people testify to become Supreme Court justices, and they claimed that they were not planning on overturning Roe v. Wade, and lo and behold, they did. So even if Project 2025, a lot of people will claim that it's not associated with Donald Trump, he's trying to distance himself from it, you should take it as seriously as you now take Roe v. Wade and what happened with that. Let's see. We then heard from, I believe her name is Miss Frazzle, or Miss Frazzles.
Jesus.
Ariel Fodder. I don't have children in my life young enough to know who that is, but a lot of people did. And she spoke about, not making this whole thing about ourselves, really leaning into BIPOC creators and lifting up their voices, intentionally seeking them out if your algorithm does not naturally pop them up now.
Zero about anything about policy or anything.
Trolls, don't try to do this on your own. Really build a community and take a step back when you need to, so you can rely on your community to take over where you can't. We lastly heard from Megan Rapinoe and Sue Bird. They're on their way, I believe, to the Olympics. And they just talked about, really building a team. They gave a shout out to Stacey Abrams and all of the incredible, amazing work that she's done. Talking about being able to do the hard things, and most importantly, focusing on winning and not policing everybody else to be perfect. So there's no one way to do this. There's no one way to have these.
So ultimately, they're telling you that they didn't do anything as far as having a conversation about how you should vote. The only thing that they're talking about is whether or not you can mobilize other people, because they already know that you for Kamala Harris. So it's nothing that they can actually give you as far as information on what she's going to be doing anything different in voting. Got it. So that was the call. That's the blueprint. That's what they're going to do for men. That's what they're going to do across the board. Hey, what's going on? You can come in. And that's what y'all can look forward to.